Early on January 24th, 16-year-old Diamond Bradley went missing, leaving her family and the town of Spring Valley in shock. As investigators started looking into what happened that morning, they found some troubling clues that hinted at something more serious behind her disappearance. What first seemed like a typical missing person case quickly turned into something much darker when authorities uncovered a disturbing connection to the hidden risks of online interactions. Diamond Bradley was a typical teenager who loved singing, dancing, playing with her siblings, and participating in photo shoots. She spent a lot of time online, as social media and smartphones had become increasingly popular among young people. As the years went by, she actively sought out internet users to interact with, looking for companionship and entertainment. By 2014, when she was about 13, Diamond started posting more frequently, sharing a variety of content on her social media page. Her posts ranged from personal relationship details to invites for hangouts, and she often expressed her deep admiration for her family, especially her mother, whom she considered the best in the world. Sometimes she would seek her mother's advice, while other times she simply shared her thoughts. Like many teenagers, Diamond experienced emotional highs and lows as she transitioned from childhood to adulthood. There were moments when she felt a surge of confidence, and at other times she longed to confide in someone. While Doris, her mother, and other family members engaged with her posts, Diamond often craved the attention of her social media followers. In a small town like Spring Valley where activities were limited, her interest in boys began to grow, and social media became a kind of digital diary for her. She regularly updated her thoughts, posting several times a day. Her posts offered a glimpse into her evolving life and mindset as a young teenager. During this period, though she cherished her family, she sometimes felt an overwhelming sense of loneliness. Diamond openly admitted to lacking close friendships and yearned for affection, often sharing her deepest feelings with anyone willing to listen. Although social media only reflected a small fraction of someone's real life, it provided insight into the worries and thoughts that occupied Diamond's mind at the time. A high school student, she had recently begun dating a boy, and the two appeared to be genuinely in love. They spent a lot of time together and seemed like an adorable couple. School was not Diamond's favorite thing, and by fall 2017, she was aiming to complete her graduation through a special program by passing exams. She had a deep sense of empathy and dreamed of pursuing a career in nursing. While many viewed her as young, her ambitions were far from small. On January 23, 2018, her house was full of friends and family celebrating Doris's birthday. The night was filled with love, laughter, a festive cake, music, and the simple joy of being surrounded by loved ones. Little did Doris know that within less than a day, her life would be shattered. Around 10 p.m., as the guests began to leave, Doris told her daughter she was heading to bed. Diamond wished her mother good night and went to take a shower. Doris typically woke up just before 7 a.m. to prepare breakfast and get the younger children ready for school. She expected her eldest daughter to be up as well. However, that morning, Diamond had not returned, and her room upstairs was also empty. Initially, Doris wasn't alarmed, knowing her daughter liked to go out for coffee early in the morning at a nearby gas station. But as time passed and Diamond didn't return, her concern grew. Diamond didn't have her own transportation, and the weather outside was a mix of wet snow and wind, making it unlikely she'd be walking around. When Doris tried calling her daughter, the call went straight to voicemail, which was unusual. The lack of response to the family's persistent messages and calls was troubling, especially since Diamond was known for not causing unnecessary worry. As the hours went by with no word, their concern deepened. Her family drove around town searching for her, but there were few places to hide in such a small community. Doris, overwhelmed with emotions ranging from fear to anger, began to dread the worst for her daughter. Diamond had never stayed out this long without informing anyone, and the anguish was becoming unbearable for Doris. After exhausting all options, she reported her daughter missing to the police at 6 p.m. Authorities quickly focused on gathering information about Diamond's phone usage and contacted her cell service provider to track the last known location of her phone using cell tower signals. The response indicated that the last activity on the phone occurred at 7 a.m., about 5 miles northwest of a tower in a neighboring town. However, this only provided a broad search area without precise coordinates, leaving her whereabouts unclear. Shortly after, the phone either ran out of battery or was turned off, as there was no further activity or social media interaction from Diamond. Doris clung to the hope that Diamond's cousin Giovanna, with whom she had been in communication the night before, might have crucial information. Diamond often confided her thoughts and plans to Giovanna, but she hadn't mentioned her intentions for the following morning. Realizing the severity of the situation, Giovanna revealed a critical secret to Doris. Diamond had a second phone that her family didn't know about, which she used to access the internet through Wi-Fi. Her family found the hidden phone in a dresser drawer, locked with a password and without a cellular plan. This revelation shocked Doris, who was unaware of her daughter's secret phone. Recognizing the urgency of the situation, she immediately took the device to the police, hoping it would provide clues about her daughter's disappearance. Investigators discovered that the hidden phone had been used for activities Doris wouldn't have approved of. Bypassing the lock screen, they found additional security measures in place, with each app requiring its own password. Despite this, notifications on the lock screen showed messages from several people inviting Diamond to meet up. The investigation revealed that the 16-year-old girl had been using her phone to engage in online dating platforms, which shocked Doris, but not Giovanna. Diamond had taken precautions, instructing her cousin to alert her at the first sign of danger, understanding the risks of her secret interactions. Doris had always been strict about dating, especially when it came to her daughter's interest in older individuals and the dangers of online communication, emphasizing the importance of caution and skepticism with strangers. Aware of her daughter's tendency to lie about her age, despite warnings from her mother about rushing into adulthood, Diamond crafted an online persona that made her appear older. As the search for Diamond continued, authorities expanded their efforts beyond the digital realm, scouring the neighborhood, checking nearby businesses and gathering surveillance footage for clues. In her usual coffee spot, only a low-resolution camera captured footage of a dark, unremarkable vehicle driven by an adult male. With limited evidence, investigators focused on this individual, analyzing the footage meticulously in hopes of finding anything that could lead to Diamond's location. Meanwhile, the family posted flyers in nearby towns with Diamond's photo and description, convinced that she had been kidnapped and taken out of town. On January 25th, Doris and another of Diamond's cousins went to the police. It became clear that Diamond had gotten involved in something far more dangerous than just socializing with boys. The cousin explained that while browsing dating sites, Diamond had come across pop-up ads promoting meetings with men in exchange for money. It was a transactional arrangement that intrigued the high schooler. Curious to learn more about how it worked, she discovered that some men were willing to pay women to meet them. No one knew how far her curiosity had taken her, or how long this had been going on, but it was clear that Diamond had posted ads of herself on adult websites. This explained why her lock screen was flooded with notifications from unknown men, responding either to her ads or her dating profiles. Doris felt like a failed mother, unable to even fathom, even in her worst nightmares, that her underage daughter would choose to make money this way. Diamond's brother, however, saw it differently. Their mother had always balanced strictness with giving her children freedom. Diamond likely didn't understand the gravity of participating in such activities and may have believed that she would be rewarded simply for going on dates, particularly with older men who she thought would be more generous. In reality, she was simply exploring life with the innocence of youth, unaware of the dangers lurking in those platforms, threats from people seeking to exploit the vulnerable. The allure of easy money for social outings was a risky temptation. Law enforcement recognized that many teenagers in the town were caught in a cycle of monotony, with their primary hobby being the digital world. Most guardians were unaware of this disconnect, leaving many parents oblivious to the online risks their children face daily. With the increasing concern, the local police sought assistance from the FBI to gain access to advanced tools to retrieve and analyze data from Diamond's main phone, aiming to trace her movements on the day of her disappearance. This collaboration proved successful, as they were able to track Diamond's route, indicating that she had been in a vehicle due to the rapid movement detected. A thorough examination of surveillance footage in the area revealed 13 vehicles, but the poor quality of the footage made identifying license plates difficult. An innovative approach involved deploying a patrol car with a dashboard camera at a strategic intersection. Over 2 days, it helped identify vehicles frequently passing through the area, narrowing down the list to a red pickup truck and a black Jeep, both of which stopped appearing later. With no immediate evidence prioritizing these vehicles, the police methodically focused on them, beginning with the two. Additional surveillance linked the black Jeep to another location along Diamond's last known route, tightening the investigation around this vehicle. Meanwhile, detectives combed through Diamond's digital interactions, scrutinizing her communications on dating apps and social media platforms. A crucial discovery was the last message Diamond had sent on the morning of her disappearance, addressed to a 26-year-old man named Gerald. He admitted to having a romantic connection with Diamond but claimed to have stopped contacting her once he learned her real age. On the morning of January 24th at 6 a.m., Diamond had invited Gerald to meet at a diner but quickly retracted the invitation, saying it was meant for someone else. He responded with a harmless smiley face emoji. However, a distressing message from Diamond followed saying, "I'm dying," which led Doris to confront Gerald with accusations that he had harmed her daughter. In her desperation, she was ready to blame any potential suspect. Gerald, however, provided a solid alibi, claiming he had been home all night playing video games, a story corroborated by the presence of a female companion. Reluctant at first, Gerald revealed that this companion was Giovanna, Diamond's cousin, adding complexity to the case. With no leads on Diamond's whereabouts, attention shifted back to the black Jeep. Additional surveillance footage captured the vehicle heading toward Putnam County, after which Diamond's phone signal vanished, either turned off or with a dead battery. The vehicle became a focal point of the investigation, believed to be critical in discovering what had happened to Diamond. Tragically, the urgency of the situation escalated when, on January 27th, 3 days after Diamond was reported missing, the Putnam County Sheriff's Office received a grim call that suggested a breakthrough in the search. A passerby walking along a gravel path in Grand Township discovered the body of a young woman in a ditch on the roadside. When the Putnam County Sheriff arrived at the scene, it became clear that this was no accident. The girl's death had been intentional. She had multiple wounds on her back, stomach, legs, arms, and hands. The victim was a young African-American girl, and the sheriff recalled a missing person report from Spring Valley that matched her description, prompting an immediate call to the area. The rural location was blanketed in snow, bordered by cornfields with the nearest house miles away. The body of Diamond Bradley was partially submerged in water from a stream running through the ditch, and the defensive wounds indicated she had fought fiercely until the end. Following the heartbreaking discovery of Diamond's body, the lead detective made the painful visit to the Bradley family home to deliver the tragic news. When the police arrived around 7 p.m., Doris had an ominous sense of mourning, collapsing emotionally before the news was even delivered, a testament to her maternal intuition. Daquan, Diamond's brother, returned home, hoping that Diamond would be found safe and sound, only to be overwhelmed by the harsh reality of his sister's death. The shock caused him to faint. The small community was deeply shaken, fearful of letting their children out and worried that the perpetrator could still be nearby, looking for another victim. To advance the investigation, the team focused closely on the black Jeep seen in the surveillance footage. They consulted an automobile expert who identified the vehicle as a specific model of Jeep Wrangler. Using this information, the police searched their databases for the names and addresses of Jeep owners in the area. After contacting numerous Jeep owners, they identified a house just a few miles north of where Diamond's body had been found. A woman answered the door and informed the officers that the owner of the black Jeep had moved to a nearby town. Although she didn't have a forwarding address, the town was only 2 miles away and had a population of about 200 people, making the search seem manageable. While patrolling the area, police spotted a black Jeep Wrangler in the driveway of a house. The vehicle belonged to 26-year-old Richard Henderson, who had indeed traveled to Spring Valley on January 24th and made a stop at a gas station near the Bradley residence. He was the person seen in the surveillance video from the gas station, waiting for a call from a friend that never came. The detectives closely observed Henderson's behavior and noticed inconsistencies in his story, as well as his facial expressions. The detectives skillfully guided the conversation, eventually getting a confession from Henderson. He admitted to meeting Diamond that day but claimed he had dropped her off at a mobile home park, which contradicted the location shown by Diamond's phone. This inconsistency raised suspicions of either theft or deception. Investigators proposed a ride-along in the patrol car to retrace the route Henderson and Diamond had taken that day. They started at the gas station, passed the traffic intersection captured in the video, crossed a bridge, and headed into the rural areas of Putnam County. The journey ended where Diamond's phone signal had disappeared. At the memorial site near the creek, the scene was adorned with teddy bears and artificial flowers, contrasting starkly with the pristine white snow. These objects, much like Diamond, seemed out of place. When detectives asked Henderson if he recognized the site, he broke down in tears. Sensing the moment, the detective pressed him to tell the truth about what happened, and Henderson, overwhelmed, sobbed while avoiding eye contact with the memorial. Richard Henderson's account was brief. He claimed her trip to the isolated area was intended for an intimate encounter. Afterward, when he asked Diamond to leave the car, Diamond allegedly refused and instead brandished a knife. A struggle ensued, with Henderson claiming he acted in self-defense. He insisted that while trying to disarm Diamond, he accidentally stabbed her in the abdomen. Despite this, he said that Diamond remained aggressive, and Henderson admitted to disarming and hitting her, possibly twice before leaving her in the ditch. However, the autopsy revealed more than 20 stab wounds, including several in Diamond's back. Given Henderson's height of nearly 6 feet and her being twice Diamond's weight, his story seemed implausible. By the time the search for Diamond had begun, she was already deceased. Over 200 people attended Diamond's memorial service, including family, friends, classmates, and educators from Spring Valley High School. Doris chose cremation, finding the thought of burying her daughter unbearable, and kept Diamond's urn with her at all times, even during the trial. During the sentencing, Henderson denied a plea deal, ultimately admitting guilt to avoid a life sentence, and was sentenced to 53 years in prison without the possibility of parole. Doris later confessed to having struggled with thoughts of ending her own life due to the immense grief over losing her daughter, but she held on for the sake of her surviving children. Thanks for tuning in to Unreal True Crime. If you're intrigued by mysteries from around the world, check out our new channel, Latin Crimes, where we dive into the gripping true crime stories of Latin America. Don't miss out. Subscribe now for more thrilling investigations.